In 2013, the Battle of Gods film reignited a brand new era for Dragon Ball. It introduced new fan favorite characters like Beerus and Whis, brought the Z Fighters back together, and even a brand new fancy transformation for Goku, Super Saiyan God. It was a simple yet strong reintroduction to the Dragon Ball franchise. It was such a success that it immediately greenlit a new TV show that we now know as Dragon Ball Super. Fast forward March 2015, 1 week before episode 1 aired, that fans learned that it was basically going to be a retread of the film. Initially, many were okay with it, as it gave a chance to flesh out some new character moments like Beerus and Whis' dynamic and extend some fights and world building. However, by the time it actually got to Battle of Gods content, it was something. The story beats were almost scene for scene of the movie with choppier animation, especially notorious in episode 5. Animating a weekly Dragon Ball series only 3 months after their latest theatrical release was a terrible idea. Even with figureheads like Naoki Tate and Ken Otsuka, who went on to make some of the most serious and most infamous sequences, it really demonstrates how brutal the time constraints were when developing the show. And for a fight that was extremely story significant for setting up the rest of the arc, it caused immense disappointment among fans. Like, even the nameless snake got better animation. For the 5th episode, the hate was blown completely out of proportion, but to be fair, for an IP as large as Dragon Ball, fans were expecting that next level quality, and episode 5 made it an easy target for comments like, "Super sucks!" and those who suggested others to just watch the film instead. Still, did those extra minutes of Beerus and Whis make the trade-off worth it? Well, here's every notable difference that I found between the two. Number 1, Bulma's birthday party is located on a luxury cruise ship instead of being held at Capsule Corp. Number 2, in the movie, Beerus awakens on Bulma's birthday, while in Super, he was up for multiple days. Number 3, Super stretches the fight by having Goku fight using all 3 Super Saiyan transformations, while Battle of God skips to only Super Saiyan 3. Number 4, all the bingo segments are removed from the show despite it being in the majority of the runtime of the movie. But now on the bright side, we now have Takoyaki Master Vegeta. Number 5, believe it or not, the Pilaf gang's entire backstory is omitted in Super, while the movie explains why they're kids. Number 6, in the movie, Mai's bullets ricochet and hit Beerus in the head, opposed to Trunks' water gun splashing in Beerus' food. Number 7, the mention of Tarble is straight up missing in Super, completely severing the link between this and the OVA. Number 8, Beerus claims to use 70% of his power by the end of the film, while no specific percentage is mentioned in Super to avoid power creep. On the bright side, people like Totally Not Mark, Geekdom 101, Anime AJ were able to jumpstart their careers with this new era of Dragon Ball, and went ahead to demonstrate their talents outside of the franchise. So, did Toei learn from their mistakes and finally smooth out these speed bumps for Resurrection F? Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F, or when people still dubbed it Fukatsu no F, had 90 minutes of screen time, about 10 minutes shorter than Battle of Gods. This was another arc Super planned to adapt in a weekly format. The film had some pacing issues of its own, leaving behind explanations of Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan. Can't believe that was the original name. And this was the perfect time for Dragon Ball Super to upgrade from the movie, so could they do it? And in places, it does deliver. Super built on the momentum following Battle of Gods, having Vegeta beg Whis to train him by finding a food he's never tried before, and it made for a really fun episode, filming that classic Dragon Ball humor. Goku only discovers that Vegeta had a 6-month head start and convinces Whis to train him too after ruining his lunch with Bulma. And this explains the new outfits that donned in the movie. The parody between the two is roughly the same until we get to Dagoma, Frieza's top henchman. In the film, he dies instantly for suggesting a smarter strategy, but in Super, he's Frieza's training partner for months as a punishment, which is important later. And look at this beautiful foreshadowing. Yes! Because Tagoma is alive, he is included in the army invasion, being pretty formidable until Gotenks, another new addition, one-shots him. Another amazing twist was having Captain Ginyu, who was presumed to be long dead since the Namek Saga, return and switch bodies with Tagoma. The way they write him back actually makes a lot of sense and arguably probably one of the best additions of the arc. I'm sounding too positive here, so what's the catch? While Gohan brutally taking Frieza's death beams does provide more tension, Piccolo's sacrifice feels utterly weightless compared to his Saiyan Saga counterpart and completely unnecessary, especially since he gets revived off-screen during the conclusion. The last 4 episodes of this arc are beyond brutal. Goku and Frieza's fight, like the Battle of Gods arc sadly, is where the animation of the arc starts to show its cracks and diminish in quality, and perhaps even Dragon Ball Super at its lowest. There's a big fluctuation in quality here as we have really good stills like this one here, but within the following minutes, you get very off-model cuts like this, and a lot of the movement here feels very rigid and stiff. I just want to iterate here that this is only one episode, and while the episodes that follow don't nearly reach the lows of episode 24, they aren't that much better to begin with. Following the arc's completion, there was yet another heavy amount of corrections within the Blu-ray releases, and even with that, it's almost impossible to not notice a lackluster animation and direction behind some of these scenes. So, is this arc better than the movie? It's really a matter of preference. If you enjoy the new added concepts like Tagoma and Ginyu, you may prefer Super's iteration of it, but if you like a quick, solid way to understand the story, the film may be better for you. For me, I prefer the film simply because it didn't harp on things to pad out for time or look like this. Also, another thing I want to note is the music placement in some of these episodes. A lot of them are often misplaced and feel wrong. Like here, listen.
Stop right there!
That is not edited, by the way. That is literally the exact scene. These first seasons of Super are plagued with choices like this, but it did get better as time went on. And part of the reason why Dragon Ball fans were fed up, because as previously mentioned, the show came out 3 months after the movie of the exact same arc. People were already checked out and just wanted to be on new material. But what we did get absolutely shook the fandom. We finally embark onto brand new original content, the Universe 6 tournament arc. There's no movie to lean on this time, just Universe 7 versus Universe 6. I'm gonna go into more detail now, as for a lot of people, this is where Super actually starts. By this point in the story, the manga is split into its own separate continuity where slight story beats change. The Golden Frieza arc was condensed into a 1-chapter summary in the manga, allowing it to go straight into this arc, leaving the anime about a month behind. This arc takes place a little after the Golden Frieza arc, where Goku and Vegeta are fighting with Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan until Goku bites his tongue and asks Whis for a revision of the name, officially canonizing Super Saiyan Blue, a way better name going forward. Champa, who was later revealed to be Beerus' twin, shows up unannounced on Beerus' planet to challenge Beerus to a 5v5 tournament for Universe 7's Earth, as his was wiped out due to war. This is also the first introduction of the Super Dragon Balls, which has orbs as large as some planets and has virtually no restriction on the wish, but can only be summoned using godly language. Bulma attempts to make the Super Dragon radar, but fails to do so, so she calls Jago to bring her to Zuno, not Zeno, as he's basically the Google of the universe. Currently, the Universe 7 roster is Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and Buu, while Beerus brings in his own fighter Monaka, who claims to be the strongest being Beerus has ever faced. The rules of this tournament are virtually identical to previous martial arts tournaments in the past, but this one includes a written test to participate. Only 4 out of the 5 make it, as Buu falls asleep during the test. Hopefully this won't be a running gag later. So, the current final roster is Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Monaka versus Hit, Cabba, Frost, Botamo, and Megera. Botamo is literally just Winnie the Pooh. There's nothing fancy about him. He has a unique ability to absorb all damage, so Goku hits him with a command grab and throws him out of the ring.
Get ready for the next battle.
And then there's Frost, Frieza's spitting image. However, he's actually revered as a hero back home. It sparked a little debate whether his mercy was actually genuine or some ruse. He hesitates to transform before fighting too, but since Goku had literally just fought Frieza, he has a pretty good indicator of what Frost's abilities should be like. Frost ends up using his final form, while Goku tells him about his Universe 7 counterpart before forcing Frost to use the real final form, which he eventually does after Goku uses some Super Saiyan. This is when we see Frost is a little sorry. After turning Super Saiyan, Frost can't seem to land any meaningful blows, and as his last-ditch attempt, he lands a pretty feeble punch which renders Goku dazed and strikes him out of the ring instantly, shocking everyone in Universe 7. Goku respects the decision. He doesn't think too much about it. He shakes Frost's hand and sits with his team. It's also a really cool, neat nod back to the Frieza saga and the previous arc, as Goku has never seen Frieza's third form. So that was neat. Piccolo asks Goku if he can beat him, and he's like, nah. So Piccolo steps in, utilizing his brain to hold Frost for a special beam cannon, but Frost pokes him using the same technique he used on Goku, causing him to miss. Jago exposes Frost with his ultra pristine vision that he's cheating with a poison needle. Piccolo's lost and retracted, but forfeits anyway to let Vegeta handle him. Yes, that is the whole fight. Frost is a sore loser and tries to take Champa's treasures and disappear until Hit confronts him and knocks him out.
Despite their literal thick skin, the Metal Man race are extraordinarily sensitive.
That works.
You sorry ass fat man! I know there's gonna be a lot of people out there calling me a bully. I'm not.
Here comes a mighty warrior!
This fight isn't just another elimination match. It's a defining moment for both Vegeta and Cabba as characters. Cabba dons an identical fighting stance to Vegeta and they go head to head. There's a statement Vegeta says in the anime and manga where he claims Cabba is evenly matched to Vegeta in their base forms. This completely made the power scaling community in shambles, while people really believed that Cabba could defeat essentially every villain in Dragon Ball Z. To beat the DBZ fans can't read stereotype, I'll break this down really simple. Vegeta was holding back. He wasn't necessarily sandbagging, but wanted to see what Cabba's fighting abilities and prowess were like. He even warns him to slow down because he's exhausted a lot of energy. He's giving praise to Cabba as far as recognizing his strength, because it's clear very early on that Vegeta barely attacked Cabba until he went Super Saiyan, which at that point absolutely demolished him. Vegeta turns up the heat, threatens Cabba's planet and family, forcing the Universe 6 Saiyan to erupt into his very first Super Saiyan. Kaba explodes with power, landing some pretty powerful blows on Vegeta, catching him off guard. Then after teaching him how to transform, Vegeta goes blue and ends him with one punch, knocking him out cold. It was a bittersweet mentor-mentee arc that not only solidified Kaba as a fan favorite, but also deepened Vegeta's character as a proud prince and ruthless teacher. But after 3 consecutive fights in a row, can the Sand Prince summon enough strength to fight against?
Time for me to make the donuts.
For whatever reason, Vegeta takes this super gamer pose where he's slouched over in this much more relaxed state. According to the Dragon Ball Reddit, they say it was due to Whis' comment about him being too uptight, so this is a compromise between his typical stance. However, it did not work in this fight. Hell, you know it's bad when they actually show blood on Super, this show where every character has an absurd amount of saliva. Vegeta tries to tank one of his hits, no pun intended, and got himself the Kaba treatment. Now that Goku has the info diff, could he actually pull it off?
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
After 38 episodes of build-up, Dragon Ball Super finally ripped open the curtains for his first truly big fight, and had a lot of expectations riding on it. Ever since this episode debuted in the release of Xenoverse 2 in 2016, Dragon Ball Super has been rising more and more in popularity, and this was the catalyst behind it all. All the build-up, all the mystery, all the intrigue of Hit is finally being shown for this grand finale. At first, Goku's testing the waters to see what he can get away with, and he learns that if he preemptively blocks him, he's able to launch a counterattack. And after a couple of back and forths, Goku starts getting serious and starts beating the bricks off a Hit, and he's unable to keep up. And then we get the unveil of not a transformation in a literal sense, but something that plagued Xenoverse for years to come. Pure progress. We come to find out that all the screaming he does was for show and didn't increase his power at all until it did. Hit's power suddenly spikes without a new form. His improvement is internal. The concept of an enemy powering up mid-fight without a transformation was so unique, it even became a notorious feature in the Xenoverse games later. And in the anime, we see Hit's time skip limit extend from 0.1 seconds to 0.2, to 0.5, and beyond within minutes. Goku finds Hit's time skip is now increasing at such an incredible rate that even Super Saiyan Blue isn't enough. Hit lands a devastating stamina break on Goku, leaving him momentarily vulnerable. So Goku realizes he has no choice but to use a trump card he's been hiding, a technique he's been secretly training, saving until he was fully ready. That being... Kaioken! One of the first big moments of Dragon Ball Super being Kaioken was such a nice callback and love to old time fans. And then when you just didn't think it could get better, he turns up the heat not by 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but times 10! Kaioken times 10! This right here was the start of absolute peak fiction. It got everyone, myself included, hyped for Dragon Ball Super for the first time on a level that set Super Saiyan 3's transformation. Even the editors knew that this would bang because they were literally playing the opening song for the credits. The sub and dub absolutely nailed the voice performance and made it feel so satisfying for being a Dragon Ball fan. And yet there's still one more transformation that broke the internet not once, but twice coming up. As Goku unleashes a massive Kaioken Kamehameha, even Hit's improved time skip can barely keep pace. And what follows is a spectacular finale. Hit, using all his pure progress games, manages to survive the time send Kamehameha by pushing time skip to the brink of its absolute limit. Goku is barely able to maintain the Kaioken for much longer, and Champa just advises Hit just to stall him until his body gives out. The rest of Universe 6's warriors stand up for Hit and his pride in fighting honorably, but Champa doesn't care. So much so to the point he threatens to destroy every last one of them for losing. Goku and Hit both give him the death stare and he sits his ass back down. Since Hit is an assassin and there is a strict no killing rule, Goku asks Beerus to lift all the rules for the tournament so Hit can fight with his full arsenal. Champa gives him the go ahead, but Beerus didn't agree, so they bicker and argue for minutes about the rules. As they're arguing, Goku and Hit decide that they're no longer going to be pawns in their game, so Goku does the unthinkable and forfeits. Calling this one a fight is generous. Monaka, who we learn is actually not a mighty warrior, is actually just a ploy created by Beerus to motivate Goku and Vegeta, and he steps into the ring trembling. Hit notices and plays along only because Goku forfeited and it helped him get stronger. And after Monaka's signature one-hitch punch, Hit dramatically gets sent flying out of the ring, meaning that Universe 7 is declared the tournament winner! It is a comedic end to a high-stakes event. Both Goku and Hit share a knowing smile. Beerus wins his bet, and with his wish with the Super Dragon Balls is actually a nice one. He uses it to restore Universe 6's Earth so Champa can enjoy its food. But not long before we're introduced to Zeno, the Omni King, who eventually will become more and more relevant for the show going forward. Literally, we know the next saga would turn the stakes up to 11 and deliver some of the most dramatic moments in the franchise. This arc was so impactful that even its name made fans lose their minds. Enter Goku Black. After some lighter filler, episode 47 kicked off what many praise as one of the best intros to an arc in Dragon Ball Super. Titled SOS from the Future, a black new enemy appears, this episode immediately told viewers that things were about to get dark. We're reunited with Future Trunks, who hasn't been seen since the Cell Saga and Z, and his world is in ruins again. Right from the start, the atmosphere here is much more dire and cinematic. In the future timeline, Trunks and Future Bulma are desperately working on fueling the time machine as someone is completely ravaging the city. The episode brilliantly keeps the villain lurking in the shadows as we the viewers only see a black silhouette with a menacing key. The first half of this episode paints this hopeless war-torn scenario. Then as Trunks finally makes a dash for the time machine, Future Bulma is killed early on by this mysterious attacker, establishing just how merciless this threat is. For most of the episode, the enemy is obstructed by shadows or seen at a distance, but in the final minutes, we finally get our dramatic reveal. A dark, clad figure descends from the sky amid swirling black clouds, and the shadow fades away to uncover the villain responsible for it all. Goku Black. The Goku Black arc, or known officially as the Future Trunks Saga, kept fans on the edge of their seats weekly, not just with its story, but its wild speculations. The million-dollar question of who or what is Goku Black? The show drops clues like the fact that Black wears a Batara earring on one ear, but it doesn't give those answers for a while. Future Trunks was eventually able to escape to the present, albeit severely injured. Bulma calls Goku and Vegeta to come quickly and grab Senzu Bean so Trunks can explain what happened. But as soon as he saw Goku's face, he immediately attacked Goku on sight, even threatening to kill him. After Trunks regains his senses, Vegeta questions him if it was Majin Buu, and he says he's already taken care of that problem, and it was something far worse. He explains the situation and does a quick sparring session with Goku to gauge where Black compares to him. Goku flexes Super Saiyan 3 and does a homage to their very first encounter by blocking his sword with 4 fingers instead of 2. And just when they thought they had time to strategize, Black has already caught up with them. Goku decides to test for himself how strong his doppelganger is, so he starts in Super Saiyan 2 to test the waters. And as a Super Saiyan 2 enjoyer, I really love this fight. Straight hands in a fight we already anticipated happening way earlier than intended. As things were about to escalate more, the portal which Goku Black came from started to close and took him back to the future, but not before he destroyed Trunks' time machine, leaving him stranded in this timeline. After this episode, the fan theory machine went into overdrive. Like this one, the heart virus theory. Did you notice that when Goku Black fights Goku in the present, Black experiences a moment of apparent chest pain? Keen fans noticed this brief scene where Black winces and clutches his chest after being kicked by Goku and after he returned to the future, and they connected that with Goku's fatal heart virus in that timeline. Since Black could be used in Goku's actual body, say someone reanimated or possessed his corpse, he would still be suffering from the same heart virus that the original Goku had. And this theory suggested Black was physically limited by the condition that killed Goku. It was pretty out there, but the fact that episode 50 showed Black in pain gave it some life in fan discussions. There are also some crazy theories like Goten being Goku Black, an evil Supreme Kai who took Goku's form, and even an alternate universe Goku where he never turned good and went rogue. The speculation frenzy was a huge part of the fan experience during this time. Each week, people scoured episodes for clues and debated endlessly online. Eventually, of course, we learned that Goku Black's true identity was who stole this Goku's body using the Super Dragon Balls. But one of the arc's biggest highlights was the introduction of Super Saiyan Rose, Goku Black's answer to Super Saiyan Blue. The debut of Rose was beautifully animated, with Black self-glazing the elegance of his new power. Goku Black's dialogue quickly became incredibly meme-worthy among the community. His overuse of the word ningen, the Japanese word for mortal or human, spawned countless jokes, and even his dramatic lines like Subarashi became the meme of the arc that people still associate with him today. And now, I can finally talk about the Supreme Kai apprentice from Universe 10. Zamasu. Before traveling to the future, in the main timeline, Beerus and Whis noticed that Black's key signature felt pretty familiar to Zamasu, so they investigate and let Goku fight him in order to find out. The key was close, but it wasn't an exact match, so it debunked their theories, so they ended up leaving. However, this was just a stepping stone of the convoluted time-bending shenanigans that this arc had planned. So, back in the future, Zamasu actually shows up himself while they're fighting Goku Black, completely confusing Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks, and it turns out he's also immortal. The first Dragon Ball villain, not you, the first canon Dragon Ball villain to achieve immortality. They ended up being too powerful, so they had no choice but returning to the present to reassess their options. We also got this incredible scene animated by the amazing Natoshi Shida, pure non-stop action. This was the first of its kind for Super, and luckily not the last. It appears in the episode out of nowhere, but it truly set a new precedent for how Dragon Ball fights would look going forward, especially after the missteps of the first 2 arcs. After somebody tipped off Universe 7 about someone asking about the Super Dragon Balls and Goku, Beerus and Co. traveled to Universe 10 to find without a reasonable doubt that Zamasu is evil, and you know the rest. Thinking everything should return to normal, during their second visit to the future, Bulma accompanies the gang, only to find out that nothing changed at all. Future Trunks unveiled a form called Super Saiyan Rage. Trunks is pushed to his emotional brink and he gains an uncontrollable rage-fueled power-up with a blue aura reminiscent of Super Saiyan Blue. This form was never fully explained, low-key a bit of a plot convenience to keep Trunks relevant against God-tier opponents. Actually, before we talk about the third visit, I want to talk specifically about her. I'm not going to get into a relationship with Trunks, but I am going to talk about this scene in particular. She has a 50 cal sniper aimed directly at Goku Black, with him not moving, mind you, and somehow misses! How? You can clearly see that she's aimed directly at his head. So how did she shoot the earring? It's more impressive that she hit a side that she couldn't see. If this was Gabby from Attack on Titan, this show would have already been over. Anyways, now with a plan to stop the Immortal Zamasu, SSB, Goku, Vegeta, and Bulma all return to the future timeline to finally end this once and for all. Vegeta gets a cool fan service moment of absolutely demolishing Goku Black and Zamasu getting put in the jar. But they somehow forgot the seal. So this is where the comments of dumb Super Goku originally came from. He forgot the Senzu beans, he forgot the Mafuba seal, and seems to take nothing seriously. And people have this notion that Z Goku was always super serious and strategic, but he too also has some of these moments. But it does seem exaggerated the most in this arc. Because of this egregious error, it allowed the two Zamasus to fuse, which resulted in them losing even worse than they did before. Father-son Galagon was a really cool moment, but unfortunately was overshadowed by Super Saiyan Blue Goku alone beam clashing with Zamasu. And with no other option, we get perhaps the arc's biggest oh my god fan service moment since the Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. Goku and Vegeta decided to use the Potara earrings to fuse once more, giving us a canon Vegito for the first time since Dragon Ball Z. The fight is short, but it's glorious. There's stunning animation cuts, including a homage to Vegito's classic moves, and for the very first time, an official final Kamehameha. He was voted by many as the best fight of the year. However, it ends prematurely because of the Potara's fusion retcon. People argue about this for a while, but I'm not gonna get into all that. Dragon Ball Super states that is a 1-hour time limit for non-Kai users, meaning that Vegito defuses in the middle of the fight. Some were disappointed about how short Vegito's appearance was, but it was undeniably super dashy while it lasted. And later on, another one of the fusions ends up stealing the spotlight in his very own movie. Okay, this is where opinions start to get mixed. The ending. After Vegito defuses, Trunks somehow creates a makeshift spirit bomb using the life energy of a few survivors and his friends, then absorbs that energy into his broken sword. The result is the Sword of Hope. Trunks, fueled by the hopes of humanity, slices Zamasu in half with a final epic slash. It was a powerful scene metaphorically, and seeing Trunks be the one to end Zamasu was super satisfying as it gave him the spotlight to be a hero of his own arc. But it created more questions than it gave answers. Trunks never learned the Spirit Bomb in any capacity. So how exactly did this happen? Obviously it was a plot device to progress and finish the story, and if the arc closed with this, I don't think it would have been that much of an issue. But this victory was short-lived as Zamasu's essence started corrupting the sky and basically became the universe itself. This is some Lex Luthor levels of hating. With no options left, Goku presses the Xeno button given to him earlier, summoning the future Xeno to completely disintegrate the future timeline to purge Zamasu for good. So in the end, Whis finds a solution. Trunks and Mai will travel to yet another alternate timeline, one where Zamasu was stopped preemptively so they can live there. Essentially, there will be 2 Trunks and 2 Mais in that new timeline. The arc ends with Trunks and Mai saying goodbye, heading off to a new, hopefully peaceful life. And many fans felt gut punched, not necessarily in a good way. The arc's finale was super controversial. Some appreciated the tragedy and the poetic notion that Trunks couldn't save his timeline, even by coming to the past for help, and others absolutely hated it, calling it the worst ending in Dragon Ball history. It's a bit extreme perhaps, but it shows how strongly people felt. They loved the arc, but to see future Earth erased and Trunks essentially failing didn't sit right with a lot of folks. And even years later, this ending still sparks debate, with some arguing it undermined Trunks' heroism. And on the flip side, some fans defended it, saying it was a bold subversion of the typical hero saves the day outcome. But here, the heroes couldn't save the day by themselves. It was certainly memorable and haunting. But still, reception-wise, the Future Trunks saga up to this point was Super's highest peak in popularity. Before moving on, let's talk about something that you may have forgotten about: Goku Black's English dub voice. Sean Schemmel, Goku's voice actor, had to find a new tone for Goku Black. Early previews, like in Xenoverse 2's first DLC and the initial dub teasers, featured Black with this deep, growly, edgy voice, and some fans joked about it sounding like Batman doing a Goku impression.
You're pointless, damn Saiyan. How dare you defy a god? I'll show you.
This Gravely voice got mixed reactions. Funimation took note, and by the time Goku Black's episodes were airing on Toonami, Schemmel had retooled the performance completely.
Considering you represent the end of your proud warrior race, this is a pathetic showing from you, boy.
He ended up giving Goku Black a slightly British aristocratic style in Super Saiyan Rose, which took inspiration from Zamasu's proper speech patterns and seemingly was closer to the Japanese portrayal. The change was very well received, and fans really love this cold, smug elegance of a British-sounding Goku Black. It's rare to see an English voice actor dramatically change a character's voice mid-series, but in this case, it really paid off, adding to Goku Black's memorabilia. By the end of 2016 and early 2017, Super's next saga was gearing up, and it felt almost like a soft reboot of Season 2 of the show. The Universe Survival Saga came in with a ton of new content and changes. For starters, it debuted a brand new opening theme, Limit Break X Survivor, retiring the old Chozetsu dynamic opening used for the past 76 episodes. The art style in this arc got a noticeable upgrade too. Toei introduced this new post-processing / compositing technique that gave everything a much richer look. You'll notice much more dynamic lighting effects and polish that early Super's episodes often lacked. The production value went up across the board, which made many fans comment that the early Tournament of Power episodes felt like a whole new show compared to Super's beginning. The premise of this saga was huge, a multiversal battle royale with 80 fighters from 8 universes, with the cost of losing looking like But before this Fortnite match actually begins, we got a little appetizer called the Xeno Expo. It's an exhibition match to show Lord Xeno what tournaments are actually like. So we have Goku, Gohan, and Boo versus 3 fighters from Universe 9. It's here where we first meet Toppo and the Universe 11 Pride Troopers, sorta. After Goku wins his final exhibition match, Toppo, this Dr. Seuss from the Lorax looking dude, jumps into the ring to challenge Goku, declaring him evil for endangering the universes. So interestingly, in the previews and trailers for this arc, Toei attempted to keep some mystery about the Pride Troopers. Early promo art showed a cloaked fighter with a physique like Jiren standing with Universe 11, and many assumed that this was going to be the big opponent for Goku, for obvious reasons. However, when the episode finally came, that role was actually given to Toppo. This led to some confusion, and later on it was revealed that Toriyama's original draft had the roles a bit different. The anime staff wanted Jiren to be initially conceived as this talkative, hot-blooded hero type, but Toriyama replied that Jiren is a character who doesn't speak, so they transferred that talkative hero personality over to Toppo. This behind-the-scenes change is also why some trailer materials misled fans. The development process was ironing out who the mysterious, strongest Pride Trooper would be. Regardless, by the time that the Tournament Power actually begins, we know that Jiren is still Universe 11's true powerhouse, even though he's been mostly silent in the background up to this point. But with the Tournament of Power underway, Dragon Ball Super geared up for its final and longest arc spanning across 34 episodes, and this is without even including the Expo matches. Watching it weekly was a ride in itself. The pacing could feel slow at times since in Universe, only a minute or two passed per episode, but it was a giant love letter to the entire Dragon Ball universe, bringing back obscure characters like Android 17 and teaming up rivals like Frieza fighting alongside Goku. But one thing that kept viewers glued to their seat each week was the constant speculation and unpredictability. With so many fighters and the stakes of erasure, every episode ended with fans debating on who would get eliminated next and how. Weekly, the community would explode with discussions like, will Krillin survive? Who will be the final 10? And etc. And the production hyped it up too. Episode 109 and 110 were aired together as a 1-hour TV special because it contained the event everyone was looking for: Goku versus Jiren. And boy, did that deliver. By the time we reached episode 109 and 110, the tournament was at the halfway mark and Goku finally got his chance to score off 1-on-1 versus Jiren, spamming his favorite emote, Owarida. This was treated as the peak moment of the tournament. Even the God of Destructions in the stands all stood up to watch Goku versus Jiren. Goku threw everything he had, every Super Saiyan form, Super Saiyan God, Blue, even the Kaioken times 20, and nothing worked. Jiren barely budged, establishing himself as probably the strongest foe that Goku has ever faced. In a desperate gamble, Goku even tried to use the Universal Spirit Bomb with energy borrowed from all of his teammates from Universe 7. Jiren, in an incredible sequence, deflects the Spirit Bomb back and overpowers Goku with his glare alone. The Spirit Bomb implodes into this dazzling black ball of energy that engulfs Goku, seemingly killing him and eliminating him from the tournament. And just when hope seemed lost, right before he was about to get eliminated, he did the unthinkable. He returned.
Here it comes.
This was the highlight of Dragon Ball Super for many. Fans in 2017 went absolutely berserk during this episode. Social media exploded, fan reaction compilation videos flooded YouTube, and Ultra Instinct Goku was trending worldwide. Crunchyroll? Crash. The Hub? Crash. Your favorite legitimate site? Crash. This scene was so magnificently done. There was no dialogue from Goku, just the shocked remarks of the gods accompanied with this incredible soundtrack. The insert song, Ultimate Battle by Akira Kushida, kicks in as Goku starts fighting Jiren, and this song came out of nowhere and was so hyped that the fans were begging for an official release. It wasn't immediately available, so talented YouTubers like PokeMixer92 created recreations to help satisfy this demand. And Ultra Instinct Sign gave us Goku at a whole brand new level. The animation during this fight was stunning, it was fluid, fast, Goku dodging everything effortlessly. And this is where the memes truly began. The concept of Ultra Instinct spawned a meme template where people would just put Goku's UI theme over other characters and situations. But I think the most famous one is probably Ultra Instinct Shaggy. Within weeks of episode 110, someone edited this scene of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo fighting a gang of bikers with the Ultimate Battle theme, making it look like Shaggy had achieved Ultra Instinct. And this meme took off wildly. Suddenly, Shaggy became this ironic powerhouse in meme culture, portrayed as only using 0.001% of his power, man, to eliminate foes, all thanks to his Ultra Instinct aura. And countless Ultra Instinct remixes popped up, not just Shaggy, but countless others. If Blue Kaioken was the first viral super moment, Ultra Instinct was on a whole nother level. Even years later, Ultra Instinct Shaggy got a nod in official Warner Bros. Media, showing how far the meme went. After episode 110, everyone was asking when will Goku achieve Ultra Instinct again? And the show played into this by having Goku fall out of the state due to exhaustion. And yes, we will see it time and time and time again. And another quick side note on music again, aside from Ultimate Battle, this track, The Final Deathmatch, also becomes associated with Ultra Instinct scenes. It also garnered fan love, albeit Ultimate Battle was the one that truly stuck as the UI theme. Toei held off on releasing these new songs for a while, so when the time that they actually aired from October 2017 till the OST album released, fans were doing anything to get these. The hype for Dragon Ball music hadn't been this high in ages, a godsend compared to early Super. Ultra Instinct comes back a few episodes later and gives us another amazing scene with the now infamous sliding Kamehameha. The Tournament of Power continued to escalate, and as it neared towards the endgame, Vegeta got his own moment by unlocking a new power in episode 123, Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, which is just Super Saiyan Blue with a darker hue. This was somewhat foreshadowed, but hilariously, an ending theme animation actually spoiled it before the episode even aired. Ending 11 that started in episode 122 showed a shot of Vegeta at the very end with an intense blue aura and his eyes white out, which fans immediately realized wasn't normal Super Saiyan Blue. And people were annoyed at Toei for dropping the spoilers so casually in this ending, and discussion popped up like, did we actually just get Vegeta's new form? Fans jokingly dubbed the form Super Saiyan Blue 2 or Limit Break Vegeta until the official name was given. And despite the spoiler, seeing Vegeta rage past his limits in the actual episode, still blasting Toppo, was still fantastic. And yes, the animation during these episodes were still top notch. By this point in 2018, it was as if the series had went under a budget injection, or the team was saving their best talent for last. Now, let's talk about Jiren the Grey. All throughout the tournament, Jiren was this enigma, barely speaking, meditating or eliminating opponents with minimal effort. And as the climax approached, we finally got Jiren's backstory in episode 127. However, it turned out to be a pretty standard, tragic origin story. Jiren's village was slaughtered by a mysterious villain. He trained to get stronger, his friends and mentor were killed by the same villain, and Jiren was left with the philosophy that strength is everything and trust in others is weakness. And many fans felt underwhelmed. After all that build-up, Jiren's motivation boiled down to, my family was killed, so I only believe in power now. Everyone drew immediate comparisons to Batman and more so to Sasuke from Naruto, whose clan massacre was the whole premise of his character. The Dragon Ball fandom, especially in Latin America and on YouTube, went to town with jokes. One infamous parody that emerged was El Hermano, who was a completely fan-made character with this elaborate design, and he was the stronger brother of Jiren who turned out to be the true villain who killed his family. The joke spun off how cliche and almost soap opera-like Jiren's backstory was. People started making video edits about El Hermano as if he showed up to fight Jiren. The community was losing it so much that they started making theories with the Grand Priest, Gohan Blanco, and a whole lot of shenanigans that will take too long to explain. In general, Jiren's backstory reveal was seen as the one-week narrative point of the finale. After so much anticipation, it fell flat for a lot of viewers that Jiren's backstory equaling bad became a common opinion on forums. Even the staff later admitted Jiren's characterization evolved during production. In interviews, they mentioned him only recently receiving his backstory, which helps explain why the show plays him so quiet for so long. However, what was effective was how they handled Frieza in this arc. Bringing the evil Emperor back as a temporary teammate for Goku was a stroke of genius that led to endless theorizing. All throughout the tournament, nobody knew if Frieza would truly cooperate or betray Universe 7. The show plays with us sometimes. They'll say that Frieza will help his team, and then other times he'll do extremely sketchy things like secretly offering Universe 9 fighters a deal or teaming up with Frost. In episode 108, we see Frieza pretending to join Frost only to double cross and eliminate him, followed by a devious laugh. And this made fans question, what is Frieza's endgame? Even up to the final battle, the possibility loomed if Frieza would backstab Goku at the last second. It kept us all guessing. Not knowing Frieza's end goal added a whole new layer of tension throughout the weekly viewing experience. The final 3 episodes of Super have to be given special mention. Episodes 129, 130, and 131 were an absolute spectacle. Goku masters Ultra Instinct in episode 129, leading to episode 130's all-out battle of MUI Goku vs. Jiren, an episode so well animated and impactful that it trended worldwide and even crashed some streaming services again when it aired. The art style in 130 took on a bold outline look thanks to many talented animators like Naoto Shishida and countless others, making it feel like a mini-movie. It felt grand, emotional, almost like the series was ending, which it was, at least for the time being. Mexico and Latin America as a whole treated the endgame of the Tournament of Power like a real-life sporting event. Some of these events had 10,000 plus attendees and became the place to watch history in the making. Some were, I kid you not, offering free dances if Goku beats Jiren in episode 130. And apparently, these kind of chants inspired the soundtrack for the Gogeta vs. Broly fight, which I think is really cool. Episode 131's ending with Goku and Frieza's joint last stand against Jiren, Android 17's victory, and the final wish to restore erased universes was such a triumphant, fulfilling moment. The very final scene showed Goku and Vegeta sparring, mirroring their very first fight from the Saiyan Saga, a perfect callback to end on. Longtime fans got goosebumps seeing this side-by-side comparison. And the show even left saying that it's the end of Dragon Ball Super for now, hinting that it wasn't truly goodbye, as we later on to have 2 new movies, but the show has still yet to return. I want to highlight how it felt watching Dragon Ball Super weekly during these arcs. Fans would stay up late Saturday nights to watch new episodes as soon as they dropped and flood social media with their reactions. The anticipation for certain episodes were off the charts. The 1-hour special for Ultra Instinct had anime fans all over the world counting down and collectively freaking out when it aired. But overall, the pacing of the show is still a common point of debate. Early on, arcs like Battle of Gods and Resurrection F retellings felt slow because they stretched movie plots into double their movie lengths. And again, many people have already seen these less than 3 years ago, so the added content didn't really incentivize anyone to watch until the arcs were over. Each original arc brought something fresh. One gave us nostalgia and technique callbacks, one gave us a time-traveling dramatic saga with an evil Goku, and one delivered the biggest battle royale imaginable with universe-shaking surprises. It was truly a great time to be a Dragon Ball fan, experiencing these moments week by week. Ningen jokes during the Goku Black arc, Ultra Instinct memes during Tournament of Power. It was also the time that reaction videos were still huge. Part of the fun was seeing others' faces when Goku went Ultra Instinct and when old characters returned. It really felt like a participatory experience. And on the bright side, each week's wait allowed the fandom to engage in one of their favorite activities, memes and fan speculation. The Tournament of Power's pacing was unusual. In Universe, it took place over 48 minutes, but some episodes only progressed roughly 2 to 3 minutes, making it feel like an absolute slugfest. During the beginning, there were some episodes where it felt like nothing really happened, and it wasn't until after episode 110 where the show started to lock in. Dragon Ball Super took us on a roller coaster from a rough start to an absolute celebration of the franchise by 2017 and 2018. We got new forms like Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken and Ultra Instinct that became instant fan favorites, new villains like Goku Black and Jiren who left lasting impressions, and some of the most stunning fights in Dragon Ball history. If you watched Super weekly or even tuned in last week, what Super arc aged the best for you? And which did you defend because you wanted it to be good? I'm reading every single reply. And if you enjoyed this trip back to 2015, consider subscribing. There was a ton of research that went into this, and if you want to see the sources that I use, they'll also be in the description below so you can experience this rabbit hole too. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.